Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another Cause Monarchy cast. We've got HitEmUp posing as Nada, the Vermilion. I'm going to say Vivid Red, actually. Oh, God, Vermilion Escozy in the top right, and Kenoli's the Pumpkin Zerg in the bottom right. We're on Realignment. This is a port of Attitude I did very recently, and HitEmUp was laughing at the fact that I was porting so many of the ASL maps, including ones that are for a forthcoming season. And honestly, guys, I've even been going back to the maps that are not quite making it into the pool. And, you know, like there was a map called Hellbound, a 3-spawn Ashworld map. I ported that one that's called Atrium of Man. And that's a nice one for, you know, just we need more 3-spawn map candidates. So, you know, some of them are going to stick, right? But I've ported Odyssey, the one that might not make it in because it's so wacky and very controversial, it seems. The remake of Odyssey, or I think it was Katrina. I can't remember what it was originally called, but I think it was actually just called Odyssey. That's what I thought. So somebody said it was some other map. So we are going to get a fun game here, though, I think, because this one was recommended to me, sent to me by Crankendow. If you guys know our Tosis cast has Dude Nerd, we'll send him replays that are highly recommended or whatever. Yeah, this Crankendow does that for me too. So Crankendow's my Dude Nerd. Shout out to my Cranken Nerd. But he's the Replay Kraken man. He's why it's called Replay Kraken. It was a little light homage to Crankendow in the first place. So he used to be the manual Replay Kraken, grabbing replays and then sorting through them and seeing which ones were good. Now we have ones that automatically handle that, although it doesn't do the hype scoring that Vika's been working on just yet. So that's going to be a feature for later, for sure. But the functions are coming up, and HitEmUp going for function against Kenoli. He's clearly going to be testing something here. This game was played on the 2nd of July, so it's technically before HitEmUp dueled against Siki. Kenoli going for his hatch down here in the natural, and of course they went for pool into Larvosk, so trying to insulate himself against early aggression. He basically did like an anti-6 pool build, something kind of similar, where your pool timing is supposed to be there in case there's some kind of heavy power belt stuff. A Chantry at the choke point with an eyelet for his own detection and healing. The Proselyte will be standing vigil here, and just Pilgrims besides that. But the Roves are going to be able to just scant on through versus the Zerg. We won't, very, very unlikely that we will see any sort of reaction based on the timing here. The Quas should go down before the Chantry actually finishes. And yeah, he goes down before he can scout it out. There's no way that the Rove shooting gave him that little Chantry information. So if Kenoli starts an Ovoleth here, it's just because he knows that the timing could be there. But I highly doubt people have drilled that many Escozy reps in that way. I get, you know, fighting Escozy. Maybe like HitEmUp versus Shopkeeper Dog has or something. Quas gets scouted by the Proselyte, moving down to the bottom right. Remember, HitEmUp has not actually gone for that early scout to the bottom. Or at all, in fact. Worker trying to get past the egg. The bouncer won't let him in the club. He's got to go in through the back door. God damn it, dude. Get me out of here. Ugh. All right, well, fine. I'll do it that way then. Proselyte is going to come in and get a little bit of heckling going as the workers do move a little bit to the bottom left. Or surely it'll get some heckling, I would think. But maybe he's just going to be there, be a bit of a nuisance there. Yeah, there he is. He's going to start attacking. Pretty quick reaction there from Kenoli, actually. No automatic impact dissipation here for the Proselyte. No way to jump out. He's going to get one worker kill. And that is a wrap on that. A lot less annoying than a missionary, that's for sure. Ovoleth is already almost complete, so he was considering that as a potential threat as the functions continue to make roves. And it looks like we will have that move out. He's going to engage onto the Quas here. Pretty interesting choice. And just kind of run him down. So we'll have to see if this is held. But Kenoli, I feel like this is going to be a little bit too much for him. Shroud almost done. He's made a couple of Zets. His Kagran's just going to get sniped away shortly. The Quas are going to stand and fight. Not a great engagement initially for the Rove, so he's going to have to use his option there to fly on in. Oh, he almost lost a Rove there just to the walkout. I like the burrow. I like the burrow a lot. Kind of forces an interaction there from the Escozy that maybe they don't want to do. By the way, you're seeing here why I usually leave a gap in the minerals so that like workers who have to fly over here don't have to go all the way around. Cause Monarchy workers move slower, right? So that's something to keep in mind. Circuit on the way. Lake is coming up in 3s. Ovoleth just confirming that the Roves are over there. I love him moving over in this spot. You know, it's the Ovoleth hiding spot. You know, we've seen that plenty of times. Intendants and 4 Pilgrims coming out to expand at this point, trying to catch back up economically. As while he has a worker lead right now, of course, 4 of them are not actively mining. You got to factor that in. Looks like a Rove will end up going down as the Skozi army got a little bit too fancy. He's not actually power building here. I'm not quite sure what happened there. And Kenoli, up a lot of money. What does he want to actually do at this particular position, I wonder? Not much, apparently. All right, I think we were just on the wrong replay version. They're fixed, boys. Fixed. Yeah, we are coming back and seeing the landlocks start to get mine. I guess this is where the replay was breaking earlier. So, yeah, the landlock is indeed getting power built. Very nice. Yeah, Kenoli up a lot of workers, actually, because of his droll push that just finished right before I hit the start record button again. I'll watch back this replay on the correct version now. And, yeah, very, very cool initial start to this game, though, with the fact that we're seeing function play become a bit more of a thing and what it might provide HitEmUp here in the matchup. In case he ends up running up against the Zerg again later as a Skozi. Of course, he'd have to make it past his new nemesis on Mono's Terran. But we'll see how that one goes. By the time this video comes out, it might have already been decided, and we'll have to wait and see on that one. This Oboleth empty, nothing in it. Landlock going to be scouted out, and we do have a grandstand inside the main base. This is one of the first times I've seen a preemptive grandstand. The Skozi players seem to forget that they have a turret in the first place. And, you know, fair enough. Maybe that's true. Maybe that's valid. Zorius coming out for Kenoli. Definitely a good unit to have against the Skozi menace. And there's actually nothing in the Oboleth, which maybe, at this point, HitEmUp might have surmised based on that. His intendants ended up scuffling back up there, but now turning their attention to other matters. Ulgorg. Okay. We got the Ulgorg coming. Plenty of Quas in production as well. I guess the idea is to just have a lot of chaff and then see if you can't just break out with that. The Lakers are going to be the first burrow target here as intendants reveal themselves with a nice little attack. It's going to be a little bit of an awkward breakout here, if it's prolonged anyway, for Kenoli. But we do have 5 Prosceniums kicking into gear for HitEmUp, so he is going to be scaling his production towards something a lot more deadly. However, if you get enough Zorius, and particularly if you get the Ultra Cores out in time, this actually could be a pretty easy dub. Think about the fact that also the Ulgorg provides you with the Gorger Core. Kenoli's a smart player, a savvy player. He knows that, okay, if my opponent's going to be indexing heavily into Aphorists, which, you know, typically you're making like 3 Prosceniums if you're making a play towards tier 3, this 5 is going to be a lot more committed on 2 base, especially. So there's a couple of things that change depending on what you see here. Either you're going to be going, you know, 3 Proscenium, 3 base into tier 3, a lot of 3s, I know. Or you're going to be going, you know, something like this as it feels a more committed push. 5 Ultra Cores are going to be really good to hold off the initial attack there for sure. But Gorger Cores can be an excellent transition point after the fact, and you can see only now do we get that ridge cap happening inside the main base. Are we going to get it in the natural too? Remains to be seen. Looks like the answer is indeed yes. And so, yeah, with the Aphorists coming, they can only shoot down. Their projectiles do not arc up. And so if Kenoli opts for a bunch of Gorgs here, that would be a really nice move, it feels like. Instead, 20 Zeths, which probably go down as fast as 2 Zeths to a bunch of Aphorists. But nonetheless, the third base being taken here is a mineral only for HitEmUp. I'm glad we get to see this map in action, actually. I've done a lot of map ports in general, so getting to see some of the new ones is going to be nice. It's going to be pretty cool. Very open middle, of course, if that's not already obvious. So got to watch out for movements like that as HitEmUp now charging forward, seeing what he can accomplish. He doesn't have an advance warning that this attack is coming, nor the complexion of the army, but he's certainly going to give it a go. Intendants trying to bounce their damage enough. They're going to be okay versus the armor. The Aphorists are going to struggle on the other side of it, though. And a 5th Ultra Core is joining the fray as they just dive onto the army and crush it immediately. This is kind of what I was worried about, right? Some Zorius mixed in there to armor rend as well. It's really difficult from the POV of the of the Skozi player, and now his landlock gets heckled by the Quas. Some unbelievable stuff. His Thomologs are being made. Okay. Trying to grab a little bit more oomph to his army. He needs some more armor pen, if you will. The Quas moving around and forcing a cancel on that third base. And tier 2 finishing for our Zerg. All bodes very well for Kenoli. He does have a big mineral float, of course, and he is taking 6 o'clock now as his third base. That's going to be a gas base. He'll attempt an attack. There's Aphorists on the high ground getting that bonus. Thaumalogs are going to come out to try to focus down individual targets, and I think they should be capable of making it happen, but those old Ultra Cores are still not being properly handled. Everything else got cleared by the splash damage, and it looks like that's enough to convince Kenoli to look elsewhere. He lost one Ultra Core, and it looks like a grandstand will be remade. They're kind of tanky structures for everything, all intents and purposes. Matraval Nest is the tech du jour. We do, of course, have more quads watching over the potential Cardinal bases that might be taken closer to HitEmUp if he wants extra gas. What's his limiting factor, I wonder? Bestiary is... He's making a second one. Everybody seems to be doing this lately. We've had a number of players do this. Shopkeeper Dog in a tournament game made a second Cypher instead of a Gauntlet and really slowed himself down. Wasn't enough to offset the other advantages he ended up getting later on, but still some good work there. From him to have to come back into it. But he's even power building it, right? Even with extra workers being sent over. Does he realize yet that he already has a Bestiary? He's making Doradin. That's what you need this structure for. Oh, dear. Multiple geyser caps now being added. All three of them, including the ridge cap at the third. He's going to make this and then be like, why can't I make tier 3? And then realize he's got 2 Bestiaries. At least the Dyad could salvage it, but I don't think HitEmUp believes in the Dyad, actually, so I don't think he will be going for that. And there it is. As the gas caps finish, the Bestiary. You saw the thought process. He clicks this, clicks that. Looks for a spot for the conduit. Okay, boys, we're on it. We are having a game. We are gaming right now, boy. That's a great option there, dude. Beautiful. 11 Vilgor core is on the way. Kenoli has an interesting composition. It feels like a comp that's much more kitted out to deny the damage of the Escozi as best it can, or at the very least to try to like get in their face and what have you. But where's the damage going to come from the Zerg, though, I wonder? Mineral only in the bottom left being taken. Interesting set of choices. There's been a very few actual combat units made during this time by our Zerg player. It's worth pointing that out as the landlock finally comes down for base number 3. For HitEmUp, he's going to be going up against what will be a 4-base Zerg. Like his Umburros. He's got a couple on the ramp up here as well. He's starting to make more of those. No Zozark yet. No other tech either. It's just all Vilg. I wonder what he's testing with the Vilg specifically, because they're pretty slow moving. They are pretty beefy. They're going to help support the Ultra Core. So there's a couple of reasons why you might go for something like that, but... Scortrith's coming for that static defense. Okay, fair enough. But tier 3 is now kicking into gear. At least one panoply. I think HitEmUp might be thinking about going Endbor or something here. Because he's only making one panoply. That's the bare minimum you need for the tech. Maybe it's a money issue as well. Yeah, I feel like Kenoli's getting trapped in the same loop that a lot of players, and particularly Zerg players, seem to get trapped into. They're used to being like, oh, if I'm being left alone, that's a good thing. I can scale up the tech tree, I can make my stuff, I can make a huge army and huge eco. But Escozi have the Endbor, and it can end the game. It can be an end to the game. But most importantly, Kenoli's already been Endbored before, I'm sure more than once. He's making his Spear Tiths as an attempt to try to, already ward them off. Only one obelisk being made right now. HitEmUp has a good amount of money. He's going to add a second one up here. Where's his... Okay, his first one's up there. He's got these, like, building teams, right? Which is really funny. Like, 15 pilgrims being used for construction right now. Top left main being taken. A cloaked pilgrim moving to the bottom left main as well, it looks like. Mineral only has 2 workers. Well, I guess no workers if they rally to the 6 o'clock instead. All this money, but no hatches. Kenoli going to take a little bit of time before he can really do much of anything here with his actual army. I mean, it's going to be kind of spooky. He's got the Convolisks as well, which can be very good at drawing fire with their attacks. But where is the attack going to commence, I wonder? He's got the option for a number of these engagements, potentially. Doranin at the 3 o'clock. Not going to reveal themselves just yet. We don't have any... Oh, we do have an Ovoleth here. Perfect. Gonna dissuade them from making much else happen over there. So he must have caught it with this Ovoleth, which is pretty good. 5 Ovoleths. He wants to patrol all the different bases, all the different places. But Endbors are coming, man. Endbors are coming, and Protathalors are all he's got in production right now. I guess in theory it could work out for the Endbor, but maybe that's what the Vilgan Ultracore stuff was for. Maybe Kenoli is even trying to show us, even through this podcast game, you know, here's how you try to counter it as Zerg. Here's what you try to do compositionally. Maybe he's deliberately waiting for the Endbor to show up. He's not a victim here. He is the aggressor. He is the man in charge. He's going to show HitEmUp how it's done. More Scorchriths. Going to be a Spear Tith here soon. Bottom left main, almost, you know, it's like just started basically. Top left main is complete as workers are being rallied over there. A lot of grandstands got made. 12 o'clock just bypassed right now. Very funny. He's going to have to deal with the fact that this Quaz is still here. So he'll go ahead and take care of that business. A grandstand was made at the ramp, so that's very amusing. If I'm Kenoli, I'm building a hatch right there at the natural, dude. Get out of my house. All right. There's more where that came from, as we do have Kenoli going to receive this attack. His Ovoleths were scouting in various positions. The Endbors did not hunt down those Ovoleths. Missed opportunity, it feels like. Maybe it's not even something HitEmUp's aware of. Not something that too many players are doing in Cosmonarchy maps, that's for sure. Lakers go ahead and salvo down. Immediately engaged upon. Ultracores collapse on the formation. The Convolus count very high. The Protathalor is going to be in charge of dealing with those Endbors. Hold on, the Vilg's providing cover as well. Is this the composition we needed? HitEmUp attacked with only 4 Endbors. That might have been the big whiff there, as the ground composition was way too weak and underpowered to actually deal with all the Ultracores. He's trying to focus them down as more Endbors come on forward. The Protathalor is trying to snipe out those heavy air. Going to be more than enough as they ground 2 more of them. Only 1 left. HitEmUp being routed back to his 3rd base, and the Ultracore is still healthy enough in their count to continue threatening. Convi's doing so much, absorbing so many of the bounces as well from the Endbor. That's what the Brute Spawn are all about. And down the last Endbor goes. We've got 2 more trying to reveal themselves here, see what they can come up with. But even as the Zerg army starts to get a little bit eclectic, a little bit chaotic, and the Dornan get a couple of very, very juicy hits, but not able to finish off any of those convies, and I just can't imagine a world where Kenoli drops the game like this. He's actually gotten ahead enough from the early game that he found the composition through his testing, as that's a wipeout bottom left. Muta's being started behind this. HitEmUp is routed to his main base. 12 o'clock is mining during all of this, but only gas. No significant mineral income for him. And he never made that many insurance. He only had the 1 panoply anyway. Desperately trying to make sure that he can get some value by scrapping the enemy Zerg army, but I really don't think it's going to make that much of a difference. An Obelisk has gone down. An Omen, ill prepared. The Ovoleth's here for detection. What is Kenoli doing? Kenoli's cheesing him. Kenoli's being a little bit of a stinkerhead. He's going for the Tozrel haunt. Zeth spot's top left. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure HitEmUp is seconds away from no GGing out of here, but this is a little dire, isn't it? Bottom left main gonna get taken. He wants Sovrelets. He wants to eat them all, or maybe he wants Tozgralisks, right? He's got 24 mutas here, so he might be going for that. Bunch of workers being made. I'm tempted to speed through the rest of this replay, but you know what? We're in for a penny, in for a pound, right? 3rd base, under construction, reset. HitEmUp trying to take most of this disrespect, make the most of it. Endbors are back up to a number of 4. You know, that's not too bad. 2 more in production. He's got queued, 1 queued, but the mutas are going to now flock over to 12 o'clock. No, where's he going with them? What's he doing? Oh, Kenoli. Oh, you goober. You've shown us so much about your composition, but are you really going to stay in the game at this point? Landlock goes down, actually. The Pilgrims fight a little bit too late. Scozy Army making a beeline for that natural. Surely Kenoli saw this with all of his detection. He just chose to not respond. 17 Tozgralisks being made. Mutas are out in some number. Not really a whole lot of anti-air, although the insurance do count, for sure. Yeah, that's a routing of the army. There's really nothing left here for HitEmUp to deal with. The Tozgralisks are not even fighting here because they only now came out of the cocoons, and so most of Kenoli's money, it feels like, wasn't actively fighting here, or at least some of it wasn't. Ultra Cores Om Nom. HitEmUp just doing what he can in this situation. Feels like he needs more panoplies for sure. Get those insurance going. See if he can't run the table on him. But he's only got 2 of them right now. I guess he could try to deal with the air stack. Tajgalisks, though, I think they're going to be more than enough in terms of the power. Lakers are still firing shots. The Ovolets providing that necessary detection. Insurance almost going down here. A lot of Aphorists are, that's for sure. But the Zerg is a little too numerous, I think. The map is a dark and scary place. I didn't think HitEmUp would get, get pranked quite so heavily by a Kenoli comp. But the early game didn't go his way. That's definitely for sure. And Kenoli managed to engage and crush the Proscenium heavy army, right? It wasn't just a straight beeline to the Endbor, so that gave time for the Zerg to ambulate towards some kind of anti-Endbor composition. I guess it looks like the main thing that was there, maybe the insurance were the secret all along. The Endbors might be a little bit fugazi there, a little bit fake. I don't know what Kenoli is doing. Kenoli really is pranking us all. And I guess Krankendau pranked us. Prankendau picking this replay for me. Unbelievable. No, it is cool to see that composition, though. I feel like that's a really big deal for Zerg players in particular. How do you fight against the Endbor, they all ask. Well, I guess Kenoli shows you Vilg Protathalor, and some Ultra Cores as well, for good measure. Flymayers are going to be pretty good versus air, but I have a sneaking suspicion that the Zerg are going to be way too numerous. And HitEmUp is trying to chase down the air stack with his army, but yeah. He's got nothing left. The Silver Souls tried, but the last insurance falls. 12 o'clock now going to be wiped. Dude, what do I even pick as the thumbnail for this video? That's what I want to know. Just a point at the Endbor and say, finally, a cure? No, Kenoli, stop it! Just end the game! Well, he's killing him in the main base. I guess that counts. He's toying with him. His production will be eliminatus. I wonder why HitEmUp is still in the game. Kind of a funny question, I guess. But he wiped out most of the air production, right? That one obelisk down there is all that's left. And now the ground army comes in while the air army floats over to that third. The natural's going to go down. And they fly all in together. Kenoli's had his fun. 22.5 minutes of it. Protathalor's blocking the ramp. Yeah, everybody go up. Come on for the group photo. GG is called. HitEmUp. I can't believe he GG'd Kenoli, dude. That's impossible. That's absolutely absurd. Well, this game had a lot of surprises, but that might have been the biggest one of them all. Endbors are crushed by Kenoli. Kenoli, the Endbor killer. Classic Kenoli. GG's. More Cosmonarchy coming at you. Streamlabs.com/Chronogo if you want to fill that bar up on the right and keep our prize pool high for Acropolis. I'll see you guys later. Peace.